先仰望星空 then reading and writing。今天我们继续 Professional Cooking for Canadian Chefs。今天我们读的部分，我们就把这部分都读完了。Rodent and Insect Control, Setting up System， 还有后边的 Safety。因为这部分相对来说，比较简单，它基本上把该做的事情都给你列出来了，所以我们只要读了就可以了。那我们开始 Rodent and Insect Control。Rats, mice, flies, and cockroaches can spread disease by contaminating food and food contact surfaces. Any sign of rodent or insect infestation is usually considered a serious violation of healthy codes. There are 4 basic methods of pest control. We start with the most important and most effective. Build them out. First, block all possible rodent entrances, including structural defects in the building. Number 2, put screens on all windows and doors. Number 3, make sure all doors are self-closing or install fly fans or air curtains. Number 4, inspect incoming supplies for signs of insect infestation. 第二个点是 eliminate harborage and breeding places. Number 1, repair holes and all other structural defects in walls and floors. Second, eliminate narrow spaces between and behind equipment, counters and other fixtures, and hollow spaces made by false bottoms in counters, cabinets, and so on. 这一点我还是提醒大家，如果大家无论在家里还是在那个餐厅的超市餐厅的厨房，大家一定要注意，就是你怎么设计的时候，怎么让那些缝隙，所有的小的 gap、小的那种缝隙越少越好，因为那个地方永远都是藏污纳垢的地方。Number 3, store food and supplies off the floor. Number 4, seal all cracks and crevices, repair loose tiles, wall coverings, and so on. Number 5, remove all fly breeding places inside and out, garbage, manure, and general filth. 这个地方就是说，这儿有一个原则，就是在你储存食物的时候。不要放在那里，直接放在地板上。所以就是说，如果你要有一个东西实在没地儿放了，必须要放在地上，一定要在这个食物和地之间放一个隔离的东西。这个我觉得其实有点不 make sense， 就是不是特别有道理。它一般我们会放一个，在酒店里的话，如果要这样的话，会放一个 tray， 一个比较平的 tray 在那边。但是你想想，那些小虫子、小蚂蚁，难道爬不过去那些 tray 吗？下一个 eliminate food supplies. Number 1, keep all foods tightly covered or wrapped. Number 2, keep garbage containers tightly covered and use metal garbage cans. Number 3, clean up all spilled food. Number 4, general sanitation.Keep floors, walls, and equipment clean. 第4个条件我们就要注意，第4点很多地方都是这个厨师来负责的，就是你要保证你的地板、墙还有你的设备是干净。还有的话，我们看一下那个第2点吧，就是因为会有老鼠嘛，他说如果你要用这个 garbage cans， 就是你特别大的那种，你一定要是金属的，这样可以防止那个老鼠可能把那个咬破。下一个叫Exterminate. Hire a qualified licensed exterminator who knows how to use the poisons. Insecticides and traps. Most poisons should not be used in a food production operation, so it's better not to do the job yourself. Extermination is a temporary solution only. For permanent freedom from rodents and insects, you must rely on other methods of control. 然后这儿有一个 key point to review 我们看一下，它提到了哪些 What does minimum internal cooking temperature mean？ 所以这个地方，这个是最重要的概念。整个在这个西餐里面最重要的一个概念就是 minimum internal cooking temperature。这个一定要记住。Number 2, how should cooked foods be cooled？ 这也是常用的一个问题啊，就是你怎么给你的食物已经做好的食物降温。下一个 ，What are the steps in the procedure for manual dishwashing for mechanical dishwashing? What are the 4 ways to protect against rodents and insects? Which of these is the most effective? 这就完了，然后我们讲下一个啊 ，setting up a system for food safety。所以这个 setting up system 特别重要。所谓 system 就是说，如果有一个新的人来了你的厨房的话，你一定要让他很方便的去 follow 这个东西，不是说你非得强迫他或者培训他或者非得 force 他去做这个，尽量建立一个比较自然的、比较容易让人去学的、去操作的一个 system， 这很重要。Once you have learned the information in the first part of the chapter, you must apply it in the kitchen. Many food service operations have designed food safety systems that enable food workers to keep a close check on food items whenever there is a risk of contamination or of the growth of the pathogens. In the most effective systems, nothing is left to chance. At each stage of food production and storage, workers refer to written guidelines that explain what to look for and what action to take if the standards are not met. Having written guidelines helps everyone avoid costly mistakes. 这个地方我觉得很重要，有一个写出来的指导。写出来指导，你可以作为一个员工手册，让大家入岗之前阅读，也可以写一个 poster， 然后贴在那个墙上，让大家特别注意。这个地方我提一个，提一个我自己个人的一个小经历啊，就是看你怎么看待它。因为最近的话，除了疫情以外，我们还发生了这个，有一个黑人在美国有一个黑人被白人警察用膝盖跪死的这么一个事件，所以进而呢引起了这个关于就是肤色还有这个种族歧视的这个话题啊。我之前有一次在这个餐厅去那个喝咖啡，然后在后厨喝咖啡嘛，然后有一个经理，那个餐厅经理过来跟我说，不让我用一个杯子，说让我用另外一个杯子。他说了一些原因吧，但实际上呢，我发现很多其他人也在用这个杯子。所以说，如果你去深究这个问题，就是说他为什么只对你说，或者只对我说不能用这个杯子呢？这后边如果你深究，会不会有歧视问题呢？那个经理是一个白人，对吧？所以我们要作为一个亚裔啊，或者说黄种人，或者说我们中国人刚过来的，对有些事情我们要格外的敏感，因为在那个中国国内没有这个种族问题，基本上没有这种种族或者种族歧视或者肤色的问题，但是在北美，加拿大还好一点，特别是美国啊，大家一定要很敏感这个事情。你对待别人要特别注意，然后别人对你的话，你要想他背后是不是有这个问题。这里边我就简单提一句啊。然后下一个讲 the HACCP system. One effective food safety system is called the Hazard Analysis Critical Control Point System, or HACCP. HACCP. Versions of this system have been widely adopted throughout the food service industry. The following discussion is a brief introduction to the basic concepts of HACCP. For a more detailed explanation, you may refer to the published material list in the bibliography. The following discussion is based on information presented in those books. 然后他就讲了一个 HACCP system， 讲了一些东西，然后他大概分了几部分，我们读一下就行了，因为这个的话，我们主要是了解 the steps of the HACCP system. The purpose of HACCP is to identify, monitor, and control dangers of food contamination. It is a system of 7 steps. 然后1至7我就直接读了，因为这个 steps 大家了解一下就可以。Assess hazards, identify critical control points, set up standards or limits, set up a procedure for monitoring, establish corrective actions, set up a record-keeping system, verify the system is working. 然后下一个 the flow of food. HACCP begins with a concept called the flow of food. 这个 concept 有可能会考啊，因为最近从去年开始吧，那个 hip hop 还有那个就说唱 rap 就比较流行嘛，又开始流行起来 rap 就比较，所以本地在那个加拿大也很流行这个 rap， 这里面都要讲一个 flow， 所以它这个地方也用这个概念 flow of food， 相对来说是一个流程，或者说一个你管理的有一个工序，或者说这个工序要遵守一定的这个 flow， 或者说这个节奏。This term refers to the movement of food through a food service operation from receiving through storage, preparation, and service until it gets to the final consumer. The flow of food is different from each item being prepared. Some menu items involve many steps. For example, a luncheon dish of creamed chicken and vegetables over rice might have the steps shown in figure followed. 我们看一下这个 flow of food 啊，先是 receiving, then refrigerated storage, dry storage, then preparing ingredients, then cooking, then holding, then serving, then cooking leftovers, then storing leftovers, then reheating leftovers, then serving leftovers. 然后看一下下一个 Even the simplest items undergo several steps. For example, a cake bought already prepared from a commercial baker and served as a dessert will go through at least the 3 steps in next figure on this way to the customer. Receiving, storing, serving. 这个的话就是一个 basic flow of food. 你先要收到，然后储存，然后给客户提供服务。这块就是即使你自己不做嘛，你也要储存好，还要收好，然后还要 serve 好，就是服务好。下一个 assessing hazards. At each steps of the flow of foods through the operation, risks can lead to dangerous conditions or hazards. Assessing hazards is the process of identifying which of these dangerous conditions can occur at every steps of the process. These hazards can be divided into 3 categories. 1. Contamination, such as cross-contamination from a solid cutting surface, torn packaging that permits insect infestation, working on food without washing hands, and spill clean and chemical on food. 2. Growth of bacteria and other pathogens due to such conditions as inadequate refrigeration or storage and holding hot food below 140 Fahrenheit degree. 3. Survival of pathogens or the continued presence of toxins, usually because of inadequate cooking or heating or inadequate sanitizing of equipment and surfaces. Note, these hazards correspond to the sanitation techniques discussed on some page. Keep bacteria from spreading, stop bacteria from growing, kill bacteria. The important difference is that the hazards addressed by HACCP include chemical and other hazards, in addition to disease-causing organisms. Naturally, however, most of the hazards we are concerned with all those that affect potential hazardous foods. Next, identifying critical control points. Once the potential hazards are identified, the next step is to decide at what stages a work can control the hazards. These points are called control points. 这是一个新的概念啊 control points. For any given hazard, there are maybe several control points, or several chances to control the hazard. The last control point at which a worker can control a particular hazard is especially important to determine, because this is the last chance to prevent a possible danger. These control points are called critical control points, CCPs. Identify CCPs is the second step in a HACCP program. In simple language, setting up a HACCP system starts with reviewing the flow of food to figure out where something might go wrong, and then deciding what can be done about it. In the language of HACCP, these steps are called assessing the hazards and identifying critical control points, setting standards or limits of CCPs. The next steps in designing a HACCP food safety system is setting up procedure for CCPs. At each such point, food workers need to know what standards must be met, what procedures to follow to meet the standards, and what to do if they aren't met. To reduce the chance for making mistakes, the standards and the procedures are written out. Whenever possible, they should be included in the operations recipes. In Chapter 4, you will see how CCPs are incorporated into a standardized recipe. Some procedures are general and include the sanitation rules discussed earlier in this chapter. For example, wash hands before handing food and after handing raw foods. Hold food above 140 Fahrenheit or below 40 Fahrenheit. Others apply to specific items. For example, cook a beef roast to an internal temperature of at least 145 and ensure that it stays at that temperature for at least 4 minutes. The minimum internal cooking temperatures discussed on page 26 are an important part of the standards of HACCP system. 这地方我们看一下，一个 beef roast to an internal temperature 至少是145度，这个我们要注意一下，因为从那个 roast 之后呢，这145还会升10度，比如150或者有可能升到160都有可能。与此同时呢，还有一个要点就是说，你想 cook 这个 beef 到一个什么 doneness， 就是一个什么 color， 对吧？它这个应该是一个 medium rare， 按照我们之前记得是145是 medium rare， 它有可能是按照 medium rare 去的。但是如果这个人想吃 rare 呢，所以说这个西餐在烹饪肉的时候有一个相悖的地方，就是这个，如果他想吃 rare。还有就是 blue rare， 就是很低温度的话，很嫩的这种很生的情况下，你是不是要给它做，对吧？如果你给它做了，那个是不是 minimum internal temperature safe 的，对吧？下一个 setting up monitoring procedures 就是一个监管的一个程序。Careful observation is needed to know when the standards are met. This often involves measuring.The only way to know, for example, that a roast has reached the required internal temperature is to measure it using a clean sanitized thermometer. Managers must ensure that all employees are trained to follow procedures and have the equipment needed to do the job. Establishing monitoring procedures includes determining how a CCP is to be monitored or measured.When it is to be monitored, who is responsible for doing the measuring, and what equipment is needed to do the monitoring. Next, taking corrective action. Corrective action is a procedure that must be followed whenever a critical limit is not met. 这里边我们要记住这个概念。Corrective actions should be identified in written procedure that clearly tell the worker what must be done in each situation. For example, a monitoring procedure might show the internal temperature of a pan of chicken breast just out of oven is 155 Fahrenheit, but the critical limit for chicken breasts is 165 Fahrenheit. The corrective action might be to return the chicken breast to the oven until the temperature reaches the critical limit. Other corrective actions might be more complicated, but the written procedure should describe clearly that steps must be taken and who must take them. Setting up a record-keeping system. Keeping records of all the procedures described previously is important if a HACCP system is to succeed. Time and temperature logs, records of corrective action taken, and the documentation of when and how measuring devices were calibrated are examples of kinds of records that enable an establishment to ensure food safety. Each establishment should develop clear, easy-to-use forms for entering all needed information. 这边说了一个细节啊，就是我们要做一些表格去登记这个温度，这叫 temperature logs。然后呢，你登记温度的时候，你所有用的那些温度计都要 calibrated， 就是都要校正。这就是很重要的一点。但是呢，在实际执行的时候呢，我看到情况就是大家发现温度差不多跟昨天，那就直接写在那个表格上了。这就是这样。甚至有的时候你这个人不上班，然后下一天他来了上班，他看，哎，我昨天忘了写了这个表格了，随时就写上了。实际情况就是这样。另外有一方面我们也看到，作为一个在厨房工作的人，你要做很多的东西，不是只有做菜那么简单。你要准备，你要登记，你要随时检查，随时确认你这个工作环境是安全的、干净的、消过毒的，这些都是你的工作一部分。Verifying the system works. Accurate records enable you to make sure a HACCP system is working as intended. Review records regularly to check that all CCPs are being correctly monitored and that corrective actions are taken according to the proper procedures and adequate to control hazards. Revise procedures as necessary. Accurate records also demonstrate to health inspectors that your operation is following correct, safe procedures. In addition, records help you determine what went wrong if a foodborne illness does occur.